Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, thank you guys again for tuning in, as always. Appreciate it. So, in other news, another day, another dollar, right? So, let's get into it. So, again, a lot of things I wanted to cover today, kind of because today seems a little bit kind of all over the place. Like, there's just a lot of things to discuss. So, we got quite a few earnings plays. There's keeping an eye on yesterday's earnings plays for a continuation today. The market's in a small inverse head and shoulders pattern, which means we might break up over kind of the 294, 295, create a short squeeze, which is going to create a long day in the market, which is most likely going to create a long day on a lot of stocks like AMD, maybe Facebook and Apple, and pretty much all your big name stocks. There's really no good penny stocks this morning. Kind of ran through and looked, unless something changes from the time that I've gotten on to the time that I'm going to get off. Maybe some penny stocks change around, but this morning there's really no good penny stocks. So no penny stocks. Pretty much large cap and earnings is what's available in the market to really focus on today. So we'll get into sharing the screen here in just a sec. Alrighty, so we will start here first with, we're just going to run through some things fast because there's a lot to touch. So we're going to run here first, JWN. So JWN reported earnings yesterday after hours from 26 to 31. Good move. So far it's pulling back. Kind of actually curious about something. Let's see if this falls into effect. Impulsive move kind of starts down there. All of that, okay. So it's arguable that this could turn into sort of a fib bounce around like 27.90, but it's just an idea to keep an eye on around the 28 level there for maybe a bounce. But anyways, JWN reports earnings doing pretty good so far in after hours, kind of fades out from after hours into pre-market. This is going to be something that we keep an eye on throughout today. It's been trending down. Excuse me. It's been trending down, so ideally you would assume that it's probably going to continue to trend down, right? Because there is no higher low, there is no reverse in direction quite yet. So again, JWN earnings worth watching. It's got some decent volatility that it's put in, so this might create some decent moves throughout the day. All right. Hello, nerve for a swing. We can take a look at, we'll take a look at nerve in a bit here. So I just want to run through all the things. If you guys have questions about what I discussed, we can always go back and over it. So JWN is one to keep an eye on today in regards to an earnings report. PDD was one we had on the watch yesterday. Didn't really trade that well, but there were definitely some plays you could have made. Ended up grinding up towards the end of the day, kind of holding up here pre-market. This does have a couple bearish divergences along like the 30-minute time frame, the hour time frame, maybe even the 15-minute time frame. So we are getting bearish divergences, which tell us to short it on a few time frames. But again, it did close strong yesterday off earnings. So normally the best way to go about watching something like that is to watch it for a continuation play to the long side before being short. So again, today for me it would be first long bias on PDD for a continuation to the upside. Then I would look to follow it short if the long play fails. Okay, that's PDD. We also have lows, so LOW. LOW ended up kind of fading from the beginning of the day off earnings, and it went right down to this blue level as we mapped out in the pre-market live stream yesterday and mentioned there's a gap fill there. So we did come down, fill that gap, and hold right into that blue level that you can see there on the chart. And let me actually, can I do that? I don't think I can. No. But anyway, so kind of keeping an eye on this. If it breaks down below kind of like 107.21, we could see it fall into a good short. But as long as it's holding above the 107.20, I'd primarily be long bias on it, maybe looking for it to bounce. But again, below that level, might consider a short play on LOW. Target, TGT. So Target, again, good earnings from yesterday, grinded up all day long, closed very well on the day. This is something that you would look to follow for continuation. The stock is into a 52-week high. There is no previous price action resistance that you can map out. So really your best bet is just to go by simple intraday technicals off of maybe key whole dollar marks. So for this Target, I would probably just continue watching it long bias for continuation before trying to be any sort of short bias right now. Okay. I mean, there's tons to continue going over. What else did I want to talk about? Okay, we'll touch on the market real fast. So the market, that's SPY, not SPW, SPY. So if you look at the market, we may or may not break out today, but I think maybe coming days we could. That doesn't really give me what I'm looking for. Is it 10-day? Maybe it was a 4-hour. Yeah, so if you look at the 4-hour chart here, pretty much an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Not perfect because the right shoulder never came down to test the low of the left shoulder. So it's possible that the inverse head and shoulder pattern has still yet to come down and test 287. Excuse me, let me put a different drawing there. It's possible you still need to come down and test 287 here. But if it's ready to go, we should see it break either today or tomorrow. But basically, as soon as you get over this 294 resistance, you're going to go into a long play, you're going to go into a short squeeze, and it's going to pick up momentum to the upside, which then means we're probably going to push up back towards the 300 mark. And if that does happen today, stuff like AMD, Facebook, a lot of your large cap stocks will probably perform pretty bullish on the day. So I would keep a bullish outlook on most of your large cap stocks for the day, as long as or if the market continues to push up nicely and get over kind of the 294 level. I would stay pretty much long bias on most of your large caps today as the market moves into green territory. You have SPLK. Is that it? Yeah. SPLK reported earnings, again, from 141 all the way down to 122. So almost, that's basically an 18, 19 point move. This could have volatility that's worth watching today. Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other things to take a look at, but like I said, I covered JWN. Yeah, so there's pretty much a handful of things that I already pointed out. That's plenty for you guys to keep an eye on today. Yeah, Dick's reported earnings. Again, that's another one you can keep an eye on. Let's see. Thoughts on Dropbox? Well, I mean, it's really just trending down right now. The only way you'd want to go about maybe trading that is if you get a bear or a bullish divergence. You could look for a long play. If not, I'd probably just remain short bias on Dropbox for the time being. My opinion on AMD, my opinion is to be long bias as long as the market's long bias today. It's in sort of a long setup for the time being. NVIDIA, yeah, I think NVIDIA had a small bearish divergence. So NVIDIA is kind of at a top point. I don't really want to be a buyer on NVIDIA here. We kind of came from a top, bounced right to a top. So this is a seller. So NVIDIA is in a seller's location. So for me, I'm not really crazy about being long bias on NVIDIA for right now, because it is at a topping point. And I think that it was either a 4-hour chart. Maybe it was a 4-hour. Yeah, there's a slight bearish divergence there. Excuse me. Small little bearish divergence. I don't know if that's going to really affect it or play out. The bigger one is on, was it a 30-minute? Yeah, there's a bigger divergence here on the 30-minute. But still, I don't think we're going to get too much movement out of NVIDIA to the downside or even really the upside. But again, if the market has a really good day, I would probably try and be more long bias on NVIDIA. Six. To the gentleman saying, where'd he go? Yeah, let's see. It says, laugh out loud. We're heading downward today, man. David Pitt. Awesome. If we head down, then that just means that things get cheaper and we're going to have more volatility in the market. And if so, that's good. Can't complain there. There was, Nerve. Yeah, someone let me take a look at Nerve. Was it Nerve? Was this the one? I think it was this one. So yeah, that's kind of what we said to watch for, was the break over kind of that 701 area. This would actually probably be a decent swing trade. I mean, it just started to break out. Ideally, the best way to trade any sort of breakout is either when it starts to break out, you get long and you take money along the move, and then wait for it to retest the breakout to confirm that it does actually want to stay above the breakout level. And then that's where I would look to maybe get into a swing trade on that position. But yeah, that did kind of have a nice move starting to break out there. So if you caught it, good for you. If you didn't, again, it's probably, you could probably see a little bit of a swing move on that. Maybe if it comes down, retest your your previous breakout level. So maybe around $7, and it may never come down and even test $7. It just kind of is what it is. But that's one way to avoid buying into a move and having it pull back on you just to bounce off the previous breakout level. Baba, Dick Thanos. Baba broke down a key support. It's actually the only stock, large cap, that I was actually considering being short bias on today was Baba. If you look, I'll pull it up real fast. Doesn't mean it's going to fall into a great short, but, Baba, again, bounced right into resistance, starting to break down. I'd be more of a short bias trader on Baba today because, again, we came off the low point, we bounced, we had earnings, we continued after earnings, we came up into the recent sell location, we consolidated for a couple days, we could not break up, we started to move down, we broke below support, we are now, our next support level is down at about 171. 4 points or 3 points from where we're currently sitting. I would be more short bias on Baba for today. I will take a look at Dix. When I looked at Dix earlier, it didn't really have much volume, so wasn't really crazy about it. Again, you can already see Dix kind of squeezed all the way up to 38 and then sold off. 38 is a seller's location. Dix, this would be the first attempt to break over previous high resistance, rejected and failed. So most likely not breaking over 38 today. I mean, I guess it could, but I'm going to go with probably not. They did raise guidance. That is good. So, yeah, you can watch it. Not saying it's not going to be a good trader on the day. There's just not as much volume on it right now. It already pushed up to 38 and failed. If it does have a good day, I would anticipate that it probably doesn't get above the 39.27 level. So for me, I probably won't trade Dix because I just don't see much value in it for myself today. But again, everybody's got a different outlook on things. Yeah, I don't see that Dix is really going to have the most ripping day here. Yeah, Roku's an interesting one. I'm not really disappointed. Yeah, like B Custom, I know you were saying we kind of missed it by a day. It's like, true. I mean, I'm not really disappointed at all because the day before was still a really good move. Sure, I would have liked to have that whole move, but, it is what it is. So, a couple things to talk about on Roku. Roku's arguably in a cup and handle pattern, small one cup, small handle. I would probably be long bias on Roku initially today to see if we tag the 52-week high at 142.10. And if we do, let me pull it back to maybe the 4 hour. It doesn't really look good. 10-day, 30-minute. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, I mean, it basically is in a bull flag right now. You can see push up, consolidate sideways, kind of grinding up. So right now it's still in a bull flag setup, which means it's bullish. So I would actually follow Roku long bias for a move to up to 142 because we haven't tested the 52-week high yet. Usually first attempts don't break out. So I'm kind of on the fence about trying to be long on Roku through 142 because I believe we're going to see a short trade, intraday short play off 142.10, which is the 52-week high. if the pullback or the short play off there fails, then I could see us getting over 142. But I would say initially you might want to have a quick kind of long scalp sort of play up to the 52-week high of 142. And then as it pulls back, that's where you make your best judgment on whether to continue being long or to leave it alone for the rest of the day. Because even if it does reject 142, I don't see Roku crashing today. Doesn't make sense. I could see just kind of a choppier, grinding back and forth consolidation day after the first initial long up to the 52-week high. So again, I think Roku is probably best to be watching long bias for at least the start in the morning. DPW actually took a loss of like $400 on DPW. I think it was the first trade on the day. Kind of went for like a long squeeze setup, didn't work, dropped out. Probably not. I mean, with it failing yesterday on the gap up, I don't see it turning into a great long play today by any means. So probably going to avoid DPW. CGC is okay. I've been following CGC for a couple weeks. My only play on CGC is once we get down to 25. We arguably might not even get to 25. 25 is a great bounce point. I will be longing CGC around the $25 mark. CGC is the same concept as NSP, which I'm already long on. If you look at NSP, you can see it drop down. Or wait, it's not a good view. You need to go back more. You can see NSP, support, dropped, bought, starting to bounce on that. So again, this is the same concept with CGC. Or sorry, NSP is the same concept as, no, CGC is the same concept as NSP. Basically, nice move up, comes crashing down, right in support, buy, bounce. So if you go look at CGC again, support all the way down. The only difference is this has been grinding into the support, and when they grind, they have a higher probability of breaking than they do when it's a quick move down. So still watching. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a breakdown as a short play into 25, and then we're going to start getting sucked back up. We do have the gap to fill here, and I would not be surprised if that gap does get filled. So for me, off of 25, it's probably where I'll be getting long in that area. And then I'd be looking for a gap fill up to 32, probably. So again, CGC's on watch for a swing trade long here, maybe tomorrow, next week. Depends on what happens here these next couple days. So you can expect, as we mentioned, you can expect interest rates to continue going down. So for those of you that have home loans and maybe loans and stuff, you can actually consider refinancing here in the near term future and get a better rate and save some money. So if you're not familiar with refinancing, I know I'm not some like mortgage expert and blah blah blah, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm involved in the market, so when you're involved in any sort of finance, you have a pretty good idea of a general idea of all finance. So probably and most likely, you're going to see the Federal Reserve continue to lower interest rates over next couple meetings, next couple months. And so interest rates are going to get lower, so you can probably head to your bank and refinance your mortgage, and get a better rate and start saving some money that way. So if you're not familiar with what refinancing is, start looking into it and start asking your bank questions. But don't be so quick to refinance, because we're probably going to be going lower on interest rates here in the near-term future. So something you can think about. But, excuse me, in regards to gold, I don't really have much to say on it. I mean, gold for me is just a long-term play. You're not going to hear me say anything else about it. I'm not looking at any macro, short-term this, short-term that. It's all long-term for me on gold and or silver. VIVE. Let's take a look. Up 50%. Yeah, I'd probably stay away from that myself. Yeah, I mean, you can, if you want, you can trade it. There's nothing about that that makes me interested. I mean, just a big spike. I mean, you've already missed the move. I mean, if you think about it, that was the move. The only thing I could see here is a bounce play. If this comes crashing down, you can look for a recovery bounce, but that's it. I mean, if VIVE was a good company, it most likely wouldn't be at 11 cents. So whatever news you're hearing of that's making this move happen, it's just pump bullshit news. It's not going to bring the company out of the grave. They're still going to roll over. They're still going to die. So, I mean, you can watch it. There might be some intraday plays here, but this spike doesn't really give you any information other than you've already missed the move. That's really what that's telling you, is that there's some type of news-driven event that's causing this to spike, and you've already missed the move. And now, really, it's just your job to follow it and hope that it performs into maybe a bullish formation like this, right? Some type of bullish pennant, which won't happen the way I'm drawing it because, again, it just won't happen. But that's what you're hoping for, is that it channels and after this move. That's what I mean. Since it's already moved, you're probably looking at a pull back that you hope bounces, then pulls back, and then forms bullish formation that you can end up getting long on. But other than that, I wouldn't trade. I don't trade low-price stocks like this myself usually. No problem, David. Appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it. Do you believe GE fraud rumors? I haven't really looked into the whole GE fraud rumor thing. I know it's something about their accounting or their books, but no, I don't know enough about it to talk on it. But, I don't really think so. But again, you never know. I mean, again, people do some shady shit. We all do it sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised. Roku, we already covered Roku about 10 minutes ago, so you can always, so when the video is over, make sure to go back and take a peek at Roku. I would recommend having $50, $100 in your account when you start trading, $2,000 in your account when you start trading, $1 million in your account when you start trading. It really doesn't matter. It really comes down to what you can afford. The problem is there's so many what ifs and what if scenarios per person that there's really no way to key in on what one particular individual needs or what all particular individuals should have when they start trading. So whenever I see some type of video or like ad that says like, I found the perfect way for beginner with this much money to start, no, because each individual is so different. Their personal finance situations are so different from one person to the next that there is really zero one size fits all when it comes to the market. Really, so, and I could spiel on about how I would recommend going about it, but there's no point to having a ton of money when you just start out trading because you're more likely going to lose. So what's the point of having a bunch of money in there that you're most likely going to lose? Not a good idea, right? You might as well have barely any money in there. But if you have barely any money, then you're not going to really make any money. And then you're going to get discouraged. And then you're going to get frustrated because you're not making any money. And you first joined this game to make money. That was your first number one thing. If anybody tells you any differently, they're lying. First reason that you decided to start trading stocks was because you wanted to make short-term fast money. Okay? When you're able to tell yourself that you're not going to make short-term fast money consistently on a daily basis because you just started, you will start to become more of a trader. Okay? When you come into it thinking you're going to make a bunch of money, and this is how you're going to make a lot of money really quickly, you're not a trader. Okay? You're not thinking like a trader. It's not what you're doing. So, like I said, I have a small account with Webull with like $400 in it, and I just constantly keep growing it. All I do is small trades, couple shares here, couple shares there, make 25. Sometimes I make $2 and I'll sell my position because it's a 5-6% gain, right? So just starting out, honestly, your best bet is to go with like a free commission broker, put a little bit of money in there, and buy low, sell high. Seriously. It sounds stupid, but it's the truth. Just like I showed you on NSP, just like I showed you on CGC. Do that, and you'll start to make 2, 3, 4, 5%. Look at the percentage gain over the monetary gain, and you will be less discouraged, and you'll be happier, and you'll probably have a better time trading. And as you start to get good at predicting moves and being able to make money, then that's when you should consider putting in more money to your account and actually sizing up a position where you can make a decent amount of money, right? And again, let me, I'm going to pull up a website for you, and we're just going to use Dave Ramsey's website. See, most of what you guys see me do online in these videos is you usually see me do like day trading and swing trading and things like that. And I made a couple videos on like building wealth over the course of your lifetime, wealth calculator. And again, what most people don't understand about me is I am actually more of a long-term growth investor than I am a trader, so to speak, at heart. In terms of activity, I'm more of a trader. But in terms of at heart, growing wealth, it's more long-term for me. So I always do this, and always in our private group, especially in our private group, I talk to them a lot of times in mentoring and in our classes about growing long-term wealth. The problem with most people is they're impatient and they want things now. They want instant gratification. They want to be rich now, but it just normally doesn't work that way unless you run a mega business, right? And you have multiple employees under you, and you found a way to make money without using a ton of your time, then you're not going to climb that wealth ladder extremely fast. It's just not going to happen. But it can happen if you're persistent, consistent, and willing. So what I'm going to show you here is how you become uber rich, so to speak, through long-term investing. And this is all hypothetical numbers, but not really hypothetical, because if you actually follow it, then it's not hypothetical. It's only hypothetical because you haven't actually done it. So again, most people go, I want to make $1,000 a day trading, right? Because most people look at trading as a way to leave their job or to not work for somebody else, right? And that's fine. That's good. You can do that too. But if you look at trading more of as a side business rather than a main business, then you're not as stressed to make money. So if you look at it as a side business or a side hustle, learn to get really good at the skill set to where you might have a day off of work and you can come into the market and you can make a few $100. And this is what I mean. Imagine if you only made, it depends on your tax status too and how much money you make. So we're going to have to do this hypothetically, unfortunately, because we can't, again, wrap everybody, each individual, into one basket and says size fits all, right? So we're just going to say that everybody here makes, we'll just say everybody is 28, which we all know that's a lie, but we're going to go with the longer term here. And we're all going to say we're going to retire at 67. And then we're all going to say that we have, let's just say we're somewhat, smart Americans and smart people and smart humans, shall I say. Don't have to be American, but smart humans. And we all have at least $5,000 saved for retirement. And then we also trade on the side, and we only make $350 a month trading. We're not considering how much money you have to pay in tax, but let's say that is your net. That's what you bring home after taxes from trading each month is $350. And let's just be generous and say you're going to get a 10% return for the rest of your life, which is possible. For people that say it's not possible, you're lying to yourself. Just go do more research, because you can find investments that return on average 10% a year. I've been getting on average 14.5% return for the past 10 years. So yes, it is possible. So let's take a look at this, calculate. So you can get $1.8, almost $2 million by the age you retire. If you had $5,000 right now, you are 28 years old, and you only make $350 a month trading, and then take your $350 a month from trading and then put it into a long-term investment, and then you can have $2 million when you grow up. But Connor, that's when you're 67. I mean, okay, fuck it. Don't do it. I don't give a shit. Don't make $1.8 million. That's up to you. I mean, I'm not your dad, right? Again, how well off you are in life isn't truly going to affect me too much. But again, do whatever you want. I know it's long and it's going to take some time to get there, but that's up to you. I don't, fuck it. So again, whatever the reasoning is or the complaint behind you don't want to do it, figure it out for yourself. But the numbers don't lie, right? So that's at 10%. Now people are going to go, Connor, you can't get 10%. Okay, fuck it. Okay, we don't get 10%. We get 8%, right? We only get 8%. Okay, we'll find a way to make it $500 a month that you put away. 1.4 million. So you lose 2% on growth, but you make up, the extra 400,000, so to speak, by getting $500 a month, right? Or maybe you had more and you started with 10,000. I don't know. Again, everybody's situation is a little bit differently. You go to 1.5. All right. So again, imagine if you really cut back on expenses and somehow you're someone who's a little bit wealthier than most and you could put $5,000 away, $13 million by the time you retire. Again, this is the problem with Social Security. We'll just do a quick Social Security spiel right now. Okay. Like I said before, the average person pays, I just did it for you. Let's go back to 10%, right? We'll go to 10%. The average person pays in they pay about $3,000 a year, so they can put away $350 per month, right? If they stopped paying into Social Security and started investing it for themselves, right? They could have around with $10,000 invested starting at age 28. You retire at 67. You already have $10,000 instead of paying the government who's just stealing your money $350, right? You could take that $350, invest it every single month with a 10% return. You're going to have $2 million in that account for when you retire. Now let's grab a calculator. Since you're 67, the average life expectancy is only about like 80-something, 82 for men these days. So let's see, 67 minus, let's say it's just 84. I think that's a number. That's 17 years. So let's take our 2 million. All right, we'll divide that by 17. That equals 117,000. Divide that by 12. So you get $9,800 a month to live on for your Social Security rather than the government giving you $3,000 a month. So you've just almost tripled the amount of money you can have each month for retirement rather than having the government give you $3,000 a month. So which seems better to you? Keep paying into Social Security to only get $3,000 a month for retirement from Social Security, or ask the government nicely to just allow you to take charge of your own life and own responsibilities and invest wisely so that you can have $9,000, almost $10,000 a month each month for retirement. Again, keep feeding into the news media and what they tell you, and you're going to wind up living on the system for the rest of your life. Oh, 10% a month. I don't know, 10% a year, excuse me. I was saying 10% a month. Shit, I'd love to have 10% a month. But those are the numbers, guys. I mean, those are truly that you can't, there's no way around it. I mean, those are the numbers. Now, of course, these take into fact, I mean, now people go, how much? I mean, compounding interest is magical because if you have $100 and, you get 10% reach, oh shit, I'm going over time now. I got to go. I got to run. See, once you get me really going, I can't stop. I love this stuff. But anyways, look into compounding interest, the rule of 72, wealth calculator. I mean, it's all there for you. Okay, guys. With that being said, everybody have a great day. Stay green. Remember, all you have to do is make $350 a month trading. You could be a multimillionaire. So when you make $25 a day trading and you don't think that's a lot of money, give yourself a pat on the back because all you need is $350, depending on your age and how much money you make. Okay? So everybody take care. Have a great day. And I will see you guys on the next video as always. Thumbs up.